What up, Grind Squad? Now, I know it's been a while, but I'm back here on YouTube. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Dragon Grind, and I'm here to bring you game news, how-tos, and even a little entertainment. So make sure you hit that subscribe and turn them notifications on so you can stay up to date with my newest content. Now, in today's video, I'm going to give you 10 steps to help you progress efficiently through Raid Shadow Legends and get to that in-game content. I'm going to take you from the beginning and tell you the things that I took to get to the end game without wasting time or resources in just a few short months. Okay, the very first step in this is pretty simple and direct. You want to progress all the way to the end of the brutal campaign. That means going through easy, normal, hard, and brutal, and getting to map 12 of the brutal campaign. That is where you're going to do most of your food farming to level up and rank up your heroes in Raid Shadow Legends. Now, I do have a video that covers this topic more. I will link it down in the description. It's called Road to Your First 6-Star, which actually leads us to step number 2. The second thing you want to do, and you can actually do this before you finish step number 1, in your progress to the end of step number 1, is you want to 6-star your farmer. Now, steps 1 and 2 tend to take quite a bit of time. Depending on how much you've invested in the game, it can take anywhere between a couple weeks to your first month of gameplay. And up until this point, you've kind of been just using whatever you have available or whatever you have built in the clan boss if you're in a clan and participate in the clan boss. But now it's time to really nail it down and build yourself a solid foundation for a clan boss team. So that's going to be step 3. You need to compose your clan boss team and actually your arena farming team, which we'll get into in a second, and really start working on your clan participation. So what you need to do now is you need to actually 6-star your clan boss team and get a nice simple build on them. I have a video that I can link down in the description that will go over that more in depth to show you, some of the mechanics of the clan boss, especially early game, like from easy to hard clan boss, and how best to utilize that and different compositions, things like that. So again, check for that down in the description. But essentially now is going to be a good time to nail down your clan boss team, because building your clan boss team is actually going to help you in the next few steps as well. But another part of step 3 is actually to start building your arena farming team. The arena, while in my honest opinion, the PvP in Raid Shadow Legends is a little underwhelming if you're not in the top 300 of the leaderboards, and even then it's kind of meh. Um, it is very vital that you build an arena farming team, because you get these medals up here and use these medals up here to invest into the Great Hall to get buffs for your stats for your heroes. And as you can tell here, here's a little golden piece of advice for you. The very first stat that you need to buff is your accuracy, and that is probably the most pivotal advice I can give you to arena farming and advancing your Great Hall in general. Many of in-game players have lacked on this knowledge, and they later regretted it and have even gone as far as to ask the developers for a Great Hall reset, which they're never going to give us. Okay, so you have your clan boss team built and hopefully your arena farming team. You've put a good portion of your resources and time into them, but we're not done making them strong yet. Step number 4, you need to run your clan boss team through Minotaur. Through your building process for your clan boss team, you might have heard or seen the Masteries tab, and so that's going to be the next thing we do. We need to go to Minotaur and run your clan boss team through them so we can get them mastered up. It adds an immense amount of power and efficiency in every aspect of the game, and that's the next thing you should do. Now, I always suggest, and the general rule of thumb is, you don't really start grinding masteries until you have your clan boss team leveled, ranked, leveled, and decent enough gear that you can push them to at least stage 13 to start the masteries. But by the time you get to the red scrolls, the divine scrolls for your masteries, you want to do stage 15. So what you do is you take your clan boss team, you slot them in here. Now, you may have to sub out 1 or 2 heroes depending on your roster to really make this effective. The Minotaur has a few weird mechanics, and I plan on dropping a video actually this week to, help help new players get through the Minotaur, learn the mechanics of the dungeon, and really, optimize their efficiency at it. So, hopefully you hit that subscribe, turn the notifications on, so that way you know when it drops here in a few days. Step 5. Up to this point in time, it's been grind after grind after grind to get your clan boss, arena, and farmer all built up, ranked up, mastered. Now it's time to put them to the test. Time to tackle our first dungeon. The first dungeon we're going to tackle is the dragon. Start with the dragon because it has some of the simplest mechanics and it also has some of the best payouts in the game as far as dungeons go. It drops 3 of the most important sets in the game for every kind of team composition: accuracy, speed, and lifesteal. And these 3 sets are particularly strong in the clan boss. So, that clan boss team that you've been building up, ranking up, and mastering, we're going to run them through Dragon. Now, I would suggest that you don't really get to farming this gear until you can hit at least like stage 15 or 16. Luckily for you, the mechanics of the dragon are very similar to the clan boss, and a lot of the same skills and abilities work very well on them. So you slot your clan boss team in here, you go in, and you push through. Not too difficult, to be honest. In the later stages, the trash waves can be a little hard to get through, but that's why that's why your clan boss team works so well on the dragon, is because your clan boss team should be, if you watched my video, should be mainly sustain built with enough accuracy to land debuffs, things like that. Well, those same mechanics work very well on the dragon, and so we're gonna push through here. That's step 5. You need to push up as high as you can, probably using your clan boss team, and you might need to slot in 1 or 2 heroes depending on affinity, or even in the later stages depending on your roster and who what heroes you have available. But for the most part, it's going to be a clan boss team that works very well on the dragon, and you're going to want to push up through here. And honestly, the dragon is one of the dungeons that people farm all the way up through to the very, very, very end of the end game for the mainly the speed, which is like literally the number 1 best set in the game. Accuracy, which is very helpful all the way through the end of the game. And depending on your roster and what most people use, even in in-game clan boss, lifesteal. Now, there's a few other okay sets here, but for the most part, it's going to be those 3 sets that you're going to be aiming for. And to be honest, it kind of seems like the RNG for the drop rates is a little tilted to the other sets. So you might have to spend a good amount of energy farming the dragon. Again, I wouldn't suggest you put too much into it until you can reliably finish stages 15, 16 up. If you can get up to 18, 19, 20, then that's even better. So now that we've, I've kind of explained step 5, you're now focused on a dungeon, you're grinding gear and why and how it's helpful. We're going to go ahead and move on to step 6. Oh, let's see what we got here. Flat defense as a main stat, auto sell. All right, now on to step 6. For step 6, we're going to take a little bit of unexpected detour. We're going to go from one of the easiest dungeons to literally the hardest dungeon in the game, Spider. The next step is to build your initial Spider team for stages 13 to 16. The reason we do this is because at this point in time, you have plenty of 6 stars. You might have even done a little bit of spider farming as of, so far, but now is a good time to push the limits of more conventional team compositions to get as high as you can. And from my experience, you can get up to stage 16 with one of the most basic type and most understood type of team compositions for Spider. All it takes is some AoE nukers, such as Bellower, Skull Crown, Ray, even people like Elaine, Kale, some strong AoE nukers will help you progress up and complete stages 13 to 16. So that way you can slot in some, decent mid-level accessories in those empty slots you have for your heroes. And again, just like, the dragon and really any of the dungeons, this is going to take a lot of energy and a good amount of time, prep, even kind of roster dependent to get up in the higher stages. but it is definitely the hardest dungeon in the game. And at this point in time, getting up to just the mid-level stages to get some, decent, adequate accessories to throw on your heroes is ideal. So that's going to be stage 6. You want to build your initial spider team. Okay, for step 7, I actually have nothing new for you. But it is such a big task that I gave it its own step. If you haven't yet, after building your clan boss team, your arena farming team, getting your campaign farmer right, running them through Minotaur, Dragon, maybe even building heroes for Dragon and Spider, now is the time to take a couple good weeks and all of your available energy and resources and farm Dragon, farm Spider. Put in good solid work. Maybe, add in some food grinding to so you that way you can 6-star other heroes, so that way you can tackle these next few steps that I'm about to let you know. But like I said during the explanation for Dragon, for Spider, these are heavily farmed stage or dungeons, and they require an immense amount of energy, time, resources in general. So now is the time that I would suggest. Now that you've gotten as high as you can in Dragon, as high as you can in Spider, take your next couple weeks of energy rewards from Battle Pass events and tournaments, daily energy, all of that, and just grind Dragon and Spider hard. At this point in time, you're going to want to acquire the most amount of gear so that way you can push up to Nightmare Clan Boss. The Nightmare Clan Boss is the first end goal. Once you get to Nightmare Clan Boss and you can 3 to 4 key it reliably, your direction in the game kind of changes up. So now is the time to farm these dungeons and get your Nightmare Clan Boss team built up. Depending on, your RNG, depending on how much you've invested in the game, this might be an easier task than you for some, but for some, they play for months on end and without the proper steps, without the proper direction, and the proper amount of effort, it takes them a while to get to Nightmare Clan Boss. So now is the time to grind the crap out of these dungeons, get the gear needed to get up to Nightmare Clan Boss. And later, I'll explain why that is, one of your most sought after goals. But that's about it for stage 7. Now we're going to move into step 7. Now we're going to move into step 8, and it's a little bit different. Check it out. At this point in time, you probably feel like a boss. After all of this investment, leveling these heroes, building them up, grinding out that gear, the masteries, your squads are doing pretty nice. But we left one little aspect of the game kind of lingering a little bit. Now it's time to tackle that. On step 8, your focus should be building your arena team and getting them up to where you can quickly farm them medals. We're not yet to to pushing up to competitive levels, but we do want to optimize our arena farming so that way we can acquire as many of these um, arena medals as possible and advance our Great Hall. I mean, that's free buffs, and it drastically affects your builds, your performance in every aspect of the game. It's definitely worth its own step. So it's step 8. On step 8, you want to you should at this point in time you should have some good support, some good healers, tanks, nukers, things like that. So you may not have to do much during this step. But if you've kind of focused on your core clan boss team, haven't branched too far out from that because due to your roster and what you have available, now's the time where you need to start considering different compositions. Now, one of the most basic arena farming comps is called Speed Nuke. Take a speed booster like Apothecary, Seeker, Gorgorab, even High Cocoon, who you get for free, that have turn meter increase, speed buffs, speed ores, things like that, and you put them in there as your fastest hero. Then you put an AoE defense down, defense break hero to go second, so that way they break the defense of the entire team. Then you use a nuker or two to wipe out the team. Speed nuke. It's simple, it's reliable. I've been using it since I started the game. I'm almost to the point of where I'm considering pushing up to platinum. Um, but for now, gold 4 is your goal. Now, for steps 9 and really 10, I'm not going to go too deep into anything, any particulars about them, as each aspect of the steps are a whole video up on themselves, and there's plenty of those videos out there. I will eventually have mine out as well. But for step 9, essentially what you want to do is you want to come back to these dungeons and you want to min max the dragon, the spiders, the minotaur, the keeps, so that way you're not spending too much time per run while you're grinding these dungeons. But more in particularly, you want to put some focus into building, maybe a few choice heroes for your ice golem. As while it is, it's ooh, all right. As while it's kind of one of your slower dungeons, and takes kind of a different kind of team comp in these in both Golem and Fire Knight. You don't rely so much on raw power, nuking, or even your debuffs and stuff like that. Now Golem does, depending on your strategy. They have different strategies. So some of your heroes from your Dragon and Clan Boss team might work in Golem, but for step 9, you want to come in and you want to build your Golem team, your Fire Knight team, and even start working on the your late game Spider team, which is past stages 16, 17. It really takes kind of particular types of strategies to really complete those, whether auto or manual. Like like I said, a whole videos upon themselves. But you want to come in here and you want to kind of min max your teams. I'm still working on Fire Knight. This is far from the, the end result, but I'll be able to do it for the arbiter missions if I, whenever I'm ready to do that. And that is actually brings us to step 10. For step 10, you're going to want to go and finish your arbiter missions. Um, Now it's not just so much just for Arbiter, but it's also for these resources, kind of get them out the way, and it'll kind of force you into getting a little more experience working with these different areas and dungeons and things like that. Now, by now, you should probably have already done most dungeons, and that's why I suggest that you leave the Arbiter missions, at least the second half. Getting up to this first half, this first 150, 140 so actually was it 151. Getting this 151 done, it's probably pretty ideal. You'll get plenty of rewards. It will, kind of give you a nice direction path to getting up to approaching the in game content. But after that, I would definitely hold off until you get, some of these other steps that, I've recently talked about done. I know the resources are tempting, but if you spend too much time focusing and working heroes and working strategies to get through, different the arena missions, they can time gate you. They can tend to take a while, especially if you don't do your Great Hall properly. And then, also building things for late game Fire Knight, blah, 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 things like that. It can really slow down your general progression. I made these steps because this is what I took. I went to in game content and alt stage 20 dungeons, Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss in like 3 months, maybe 4 months. We'll call it 4 months. Now, one thing that I haven't touched on yet, and in my honest opinion, this is the true end game. Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, if you have the proper roster, you can get there. I got there definitely under 4 months. Myself, I know because I was kind of on a time limit with my clan and everything there at the end. Um, Faction Wars. Faction Wars takes everything that you've done so far and multiplies it by 13. Now have to build a faction team for each faction crypt. You have to 6-star them, level them, master them, grind the gear, run the strategies, the comps, and all that, and you have to do it for each. So this right here to me is the true end game. And once you can finish each faction crypt, as of right now, the time of this recording, you beat the game. There ain't much else for you to do. Push up through platinum, be competitive in the PvP, try to min max so you can 2 key, 1 key Ultra Nightmare Clan boss, but it's essentially the same thing, just quicker. And that's it. That's Raid in a nutshell, pretty much all by itself. All right, so that's the 10 steps to getting towards the end game. I even went over a little bit about what the end game is, my idea of the true end game, and what it takes to get through Raid Shadow Legends. If there is any other questions, um, or you guys need any help building your teams or anything like that, I stream over at Twitch. Couple days throughout the week. Schedule still a little rocky throughout the week, but on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, I'm over there every night. So feel free to hop in, shoot me a follow, so that way you get notifications when I go live. I'll leave the link down in the description. If you need help immediately, upon seeing this video, I will also link my Discord down there. You guys feel free to hop in the Discord. Um, you know, Tag me, anything like that. I have a pretty good experienced community over there. Definitely some of the top theory crafters that I know of will be able, will be there to help you out, to answer any questions you may have. And until next time, happy grinding. May the shards break in your favor.